Hi, I'm Susan Parker, and I'm here today to provide you some information about bullying. And you'll notice on your screen the things we're going to talk about today are we're going to define bullying, we're going to talk about your bullying policy at your school district, suggest some interventions for you, and provide some resources as well. As you see on your screen, there's a lot of people that we've listed that really should participate, and the reason is every adult that comes into your school could be witnessing bullying and needs some tools and resources as to what to do about it. So it is a good idea to involve just about everyone in your school. We do have a lot of surveys that you could download from our website that might help you as well, and they're surveys for different people. There's one even for the bus drivers, there's one for students to take. We're not suggesting that everyone take every survey, but it will give you some good background information if you feel like you need it. So what is bullying? Well, bullying is a form of violence. It really is. It's any mean word, look, sign, or act that hurts a person's body or feelings. And so that's basically what it is. But what does a bully look like? Well, a bully really has a strong desire for control over others. That's the first thing you see up there. Sometimes number 6, look at that, low average, above average popularity. They're outside their own group of followers many times. And you'd be surprised how successful some of these bullies are at hiding their behavior from adults around them. And along with who are the bullies, you got to start recognizing who are your victims as well. And as again you notice on the screen, there's a lot of different characteristics of your victims. Number 4 kind of is an easy one to notice. They're chosen among the last in team games. You go back up to number 2, bruises, injuries, that kind of thing. That's fairly easy to notice, but some of the others are more subtle. Number 6, slow or sudden gradual deterioration in their schoolwork. That could be a red flag to you that you may have a victim of bullying in your classroom. There are a lot of statistics out there. We're showing on the screen a number of statistics we've gathered from a lot of different sources, and as you look through some of these, it's pretty astonishing as to how many students are affected by bullying. And you think about over 160,000 students a day stay home from school because of bullying, because they're afraid to come to school. What you see on your screen says some interesting facts about popular students or about popular kids, but think about the students who are not bullied and some of the characteristics they have, whether they're popular or not. And if you think about the girls that have the clothes, the looks, the charisma, that kind of thing, generally they're not concerned about being bullied. And then the boys who have a lot of athletic ability and are involved in athletics, generally they're not the ones that are being bullied either. Some additional facts by the numbers that we have up there on the screen show some of the violence that occurs as a result of bullying. And notice the 90% of school shootings involve young boys who were tormented or bullied. And 30% of our youth suicides are because of bullying. And you may not have realized that bullying could result in such consequences for our students. So what are the effects of bullying? What happens? Well, bullied children seek acceptance in a lot of different ways, and sometimes, not an absolute, but sometimes it could happen that these students are going into gangs and hate groups and drug groups and things like that, because that's their way of dealing with being bullied. Or you've got victims who engage in the self-mutilation kind of thing called cutting. And of course they may cause teen pregnancies. There's a lot of different effects that bullying will have on the victims. Bullying causes children to run away from home, eating disorders. You can see on the screen a lot of different effects. So that's why we do need to recognize that bullying does occur in our schools and find some resources and interventions. 1 out of every 7 children reports being involved in bullying experience at school. When you think about that, and if you're a room in a group of 7 people and you look around you, 1 in 7 of you or those children around have been involved in some kind of bullying experience. When you put it in perspective that way, it really lets you know we do have an issue, we do have a problem, we need to do something about it. Listen to this audio about a young student who had been bullied.
I feel I always get picked on at school. I don't even get included at all. People tell me I'm going to hell. I get called carrot tops and loser and mentally retarded. I just get so mad. I tell people, but no one believes me. I cry, and still no one believes me. Sometimes I really just want to kill myself.
So now that we kind of looked at what some of the effects are and some of the behavior problems that could result, this also moves on to societal problems as well, and not just in our schools, but as we grow up. And often bullies grow up to be additional bullies, and even victims grow up many times to be bullies. Another type of bullying that's kind of new in a way, and that's cyberbullying. It's not the playground type of bullying, but it does occur through our technology. And how it occurs is just using any kind of information technology such as email, cell phones, pagers, instant messages, all of those kinds of things. And it's still the same type of thing as physical bullying would be. You're harming, or it's hostile behavior and you're harming another person. So why do kids use technology? Well, part of the reasons are it's instant, and it's anonymous is one of the big things. Even though we've got pictures here of kids using technology happily, and that's what we'd like to see, unfortunately sometimes they use it just like the playground, just like behavior in any other way. They use it in a way to harm others. How do people cyberbully others? And there's all kinds of things you see listed here on your screen. Of course, through email, outing, polling, where they take a poll about some kind of behavior and they're very negative about it, slamming, just blackmail. And the reason, again, why students go and use these kinds of things and use the technology is because it is anonymous, and that's the basic reason. It's anonymous. That's why. It's appealing to them. So now that, again, you have additional background about what bullying is, kind of what it looks like, where do you start? What do you do about it? The first thing you really need to do is look at your district bullying policy. First off, what is the district bullying policy? Where is it? One of the first best things that you can do is to read that bullying policy, not just find it. Find out what it addresses, and does it address everything it should. Yeah, y'all have had a bullying policy for some time in your district, but one thing that could be new to that is a policy from Senate Bill 1941, and you need to expand your policy to make sure you're including electronic communication, and that you set up some kind of control and discipline for students that use electronic communication in a bullying activity. Your Safe School Committee is the committee that usually handles all of this. So if that committee can get together and get copies of your district policy for everyone, it'll really help you get started. Of course, we could lock down our computers if we really wanted to, but we really don't want to do that. There's a lot of great technology out there. We want to be able to utilize it. We want our students to utilize it. We just have to take some safeguards, which is no different than any other kind of activity that we're doing with our students, or any other kind of teaching. Now I'd like to give you some interventions and resources to really help you address the bullying issue. Very first thing, you want to create a safe school culture. Being proactive really is what you want to think about doing. So often and traditionally we have been reactive to a bullying issue or a bullying problem, and so if you start taking a proactive stance with some pro-social kinds of skills, violence prevention curriculum for the students, track your results and adjust the plan each year, and of course celebrate your accomplishments. So some interventions to start with. Peer mediation. Really, you've probably done this kind of thing in the past for other issues. Why not use it for bullying? Anger management. Just review and revise those policies. Involve as many community members as you can, and don't forget your parents. A good place and an easy place to start is having a school-wide bullying awareness week. Have student council make presentations to younger students, an anti-bullying poster contest. A lot of really simple ways that don't cost you any money to start being proactive and addressing the issue of bullying. Here's some advice for a victim of bullying, and actually this came from a victim himself. And the very first thing this gentleman said was to tell someone. And we have told our students to tell us when something happens. But you know what's happened a lot of times in the past is they may have told us, but we did not do anything about the problem, or nothing happened as a result, or the student was still being bullied. So if we are advising our students to tell someone when something happens, the thing that we need to make sure to do is to do something about it. So in addition to that, the advice from this victim says not only tell someone, don't look like a victim. Get them to look like they have self-confidence, maybe when they even don't. And then teach your students not to buy in to the taunt of that bully. So some of the good teaching tools that we can start with, utilizing a wide variety of curriculum that's available to you, teaching tolerance, good moral character, social skills, and smart technology skills. Again, be proactive, not reactive. Here's an idea that came from a teacher that had a bullying incident and seemed to work, so you might want to try this. When you have an issue come up, some bullying incident, put the group in a gym, give them pencil and paper, let them write out what occurred, and then write some solutions to what occurred as well. Then the next day, hand out these papers again after we remove their names and hand them out randomly to the students. Discuss the solutions that were written. And you'd be surprised how the students will go ahead and decide among themselves, well, this solution won't work or this one will. And they will come up with some really valid ways to handle the situation. So sometimes if you give them the responsibility, you might have a better result than us dictating to them. So that would be a very proactive way to handle a situation that has occurred. Now, what do we tell our parents to do about cyberbullying, those parents that have computers at home? First off, for them to keep the computer in an easy place to monitor, not off somewhere privately. Just not so much that the students are doing that child is doing something, but to make sure nothing's being done to them. Advise your parents that you will work with them and with your tech personnel. Maybe utilize your tech personnel to work with your parents. Help your parents become tech literate. Provide some informational classes for them. Go ahead and talk to the students and the children about the issue. The parents talking to them as well as you talking to them. Have parents locate programmable cell phones for them. And this is a big one. The bottom bullet point here on this list is to support the victim. Help parents understand that they need to support their child and not to blame their own child for what has occurred in that bullying situation. And then what do we teach kids to do about cyberbullying? A lot of good points here for young people, but one of the best ones is number 6 down there in the bottom right-hand side. Treat that password like it's your toothbrush. Don't let anyone else use it. If we can get that idea across to students, they can understand the privacy of that password and how to protect it. So we've given you a few ideas. What are you going to do about bullying? This is what we all can do. We can take a stand. And like I said before, a proactive stand. That's the best way to handle this instead of being reactive to every situation that occurs. Go ahead and put some things in motion to address the bullying issue. And you may think you don't have a bullying problem, but one of the first things that you're going to be doing probably is taking some surveys and finding out where you have a bullying problem, because you most likely do. When you're setting up an effective bullying program at your school, here are 5 things to remember. Involve the entire school. Make sure everybody understands you have a policy of zero tolerance, that you're going to be doing some things to teach as well as model. Integrate what you can across the curriculum. It's not just one person teaching this. Everyone is involved. And then, of course, review, revise, and retrain. And that's what the effective programs do. So here we have a summary of some interventions for you to think about. And I've said it several times in this webcast, but I think it's one of the most important ones. Second bullet point there is just to be proactive about your curriculum, about your interventions, and about where bullying occurs. Give this some thought. If you've discovered that most of the bullying occurs, say, in the restrooms, or it occurs between classes out at the south side of your building, wherever it occurs, that's where you need to be. Be proactive about being where those things occur. Make sure you have incident follow-up, because again, if we advise students and teach students to tell us about bullying incidents and we don't do anything about it, they'll stop telling us. You can utilize a lot of different bullying curriculums. Our State Department has a lot of information. I'll show you that link in just a moment. Teaching respect, tolerance, social skills in all subject areas is also one of the best ways to address your bullying issue. Now, a lot of things that you do won't take any funds, won't take any money, but you might need some funding sources. And here's just some suggestions for you. And the best first place to start is your Safe and Drug-Free School funds. If you happen to need funds to start a program, to buy a curriculum, whatever you're wanting to do. But don't forget your business partners, your community. Believe me, they're willing to help, especially with an issue such as this. Also, if you'd like some additional background and information about bullying, there are a lot of video clips on the web from TeacherTube. There are a couple listed there. There are a couple listed from YouTube. And then also Oprah has, from the Oprah Show, has a lot of segments about bullying. We've included some titles on both of these. I'm hoping they would still be up when you choose to go there and look at these. They may not be those exact titles, but take some time to look through these resources, and you're going to find a lot of excellent clips that could be anywhere from 3 minutes to 10 minutes long. You might need to screen some of them, this is true, but some of them are very appropriate to show to your students as well, and parent groups to help understand the impact of bullying. These are pretty profound, most of these, especially that one from YouTube on the anti-bullying PSA. It was put together by some moms whose children were injured in a bullying incident, but has a lot of impact. Take some time to view some of these. There's some additional web resources for you. Stop Bullying Now, Bully Stoppers. And these are live links where you could pause this webcast if you would like and go ahead and go to those websites now, or just jot them down for later. But a lot of excellent resources, a lot of small curriculum ideas as well as full curriculum that you could utilize from these sources. There's a Safe Call helpline. This is something you need to teach every student, actually. And this is Oklahoma. Make a Safe Call hotline, 1-877-723-3225. So teach your kids this. I believe you can obtain posters that you can place in your schools, but at any rate, you could at least pass this number out and let your students know about it. Additional resources for cyberbullying. These are all from the website, different websites. All great tools. This is our Oklahoma State Department of Education website where you can access the bullying prevention curriculum list. A lot of excellent resources, a lot with complete curriculum for you to utilize. So in summary, in this session, we have hopefully defined bullying for you, talked about your policy, given you the update to include technology in your policy, a few suggested interventions, and provided some resources. Keep in mind that if you would like additional information or more in-depth study of the bullying issues at your school, OTAC is available to come to your school and provide an in-service. Thank you.